Okay, so this is it went away.
It won't be in the recording for now. Okay, try to. Yeah, Sean, it just went away.
Okay, because I recorded, so that won't be in the recording. So let me pause the recording.
Oh. When I saw default, I thought that was wrong. I was like, no, I don't want the default. But the default was my ATR 2100. So that's why I was asking you if it said default or if it said the name of the mic.
No, I've had it say default, but today it didn't, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's pretty neat. So what else is up? What is new, Miss Eileen, with Blab?
Oh, as far as I know, hey, Art. As far as I know, you changed your avatar, Art. I'm sorry, that threw me off. I was like, is that Art or not? There's this tiny player, but I think only certain people have access to that. And I think Sean left.
I wish I had a question for Sean. I wish I did. I call him Stan. I meant just Sean. I know what I was thinking.
I see him over there.
Still there?
I don't see him up top.
I had a question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking over there.
Yeah, he said something and then he left. He's probably popping in and out of different rooms and stuff.
I bet.
I want to ask him about this. I created a Netcasting 101 school, which talks about how you can podcast basically with different things. Basically, you could go from different sources. I gotta stop and think here. Just about 5 different ways you could create a podcast using different sources. One of them is Blab.
I use Blab for my podcast. So
the only problem is when I run it through Adobe Audition, I'm pulling out. I've got a little system I run it through, and it's showing like 30 minutes. It's showing like 1,000 clicks. It's pulling out the clicks.
What do you mean? What clicks do you mean?
When you go to Adobe Audition, if you go into Windows, Adobe Audition, you can set under diagnostics, which is about third down. Mm-hmm. You can set diagnostics, and in diagnostics, you go through some diagnostics. You can de-clicker, and it checks for clicks. And clicks is just a sound that you make, like click in your voice, whatever it might be. So it's a little behind the clicks, and you can take those clicks out, and it helps the sound.
I'm confused. What's the benefit of using Blab if you're also going to be using Audition? Why don't you just use the Audition, forget Blab?
What do you mean?
What's the benefit if you're already recording it with your software?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean just as far as the recording.
When I edit the podcast, we put an addition. I put an addition when I edit.
Okay.
So when I edit the podcast, I do a lot of editing, and I tell you, it's kind of I'm even contemplating just doing a Blab separate from Skype, and then doing the podcast with Skype. I've been doing a daily podcast almost.
All right, so what do you do when you see all those clicks? Do you just ignore them and leave them in?
I take them out. I run a declicker in it. I declick it.
And is your podcast on iTunes?
Oh yeah, I have 4 of them on iTunes. We have 4 feeds. We've got the real estate agent show. And I put them all in one Timelines. Timelines is old. Timelines of Success. I'll drop that in.
But you're not recording all 4 of them on Blab, though, are you?
No, everything's recorded on Blab. But I used to.
I didn't know you were doing the real estate thing on Blab. I know about the Timelines.
The real estate thing is on Thursdays. If you go to here, I'll drop the schedule in here.
Okay.
This really, really helps. I systems pretty well. This is one of my early websites, some Bluehost of all places. And if you go to that schedule, you can see all the stuff that we do or do. I help produce with a couple other people.
The Blab links are in there is what you're telling me, right?
Yeah. And then what I do, though, is we put it all in the same feed. We have one that's all in the same feed, so it's 7 days a week. Then we have separate feeds, too.
Hey, Bill, why don't you try this? Open, well, you're going to have to stop recording. Let's just try putting your link that you're talking about on this Blab.
Okay, let me stop recording and see what happened now.
Include the video.
It's recording right now.
See, that's what I'm saying. But when you play this recording later, you will not see this video with Mike over here talking about whole life insurance.
Okay, we're going to find out if Mike shows up when we record again. Right now on the lower quadrant, Mike is recording on a YouTube.
The other thing we found out here, Eileen, is what did he say? He said that, he said something else about the videos. We can't turn the sound off right now. Like I can't mute it. You know how we can mute ourselves? There's no little mute button down there.
Okay. Okay. It's just an experimental feature. And the Blab gods have come in here and given Mike special powers. That's how he did it. So XL radio, you're not going to be able to do that when you go start a Blab unless the Blab angels come and sprinkle some fairy dust on you. Okay.
Right. So I can tell them what we did, XL, is you can go at help or at Blab help.
Hey, Bruce.
Or at Blab stud. I think it's Sean's. What's his? Is it just Sean?
Sean is Sean VP.
I think it's Sean, SHAAN VP. And then if they see it and they jump in there, say you want to unlock your drop-ins, and then they'll do it for you. And right now you have to, they have to turn it on and they can turn it on and off. So if we were to close this out and start another Blab, we would have to ask them to turn it on.
Yep.
So we just happen to catch them at a good time.
So I have a little bit more to tell you about that slide share.
All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
One of the Blabbers, who's a friend of mine, I went to their slide share account and they had a Blab playing, not with a slide on the front of it like mine's was, and not a YouTube video, a Blab recording. And I was like, what? How did they do that? And so anyway, it happens to be Barry Feldman, who does a podcast here called Content Matters with my other friend, Andy Crestadina. And here it comes to find out he has special privileges over on SlideShare because he's a keynote author. And so he's able to upload video directly to SlideShare. So if you ever wanted to see some Blabs actually playing as videos over on SlideShare, you have to go to Barry Feldman, or actually it's Feldman Creative, I believe is his account.
I'm gonna try some. So,
and if you want to see an example of that, I will show you. Oh, it's probably under my likes. Let me see. My clipboards, my uploads, my leave. Ladies from people file likes. Okay, I only got 309 likes, so it shouldn't be hard to find. Here it is. Here's an example here.
Barry, it's content. There's one.
So that would be interesting if the videos played. It would be interesting if that video played. Then you would have a Blab playing.
Want me to copy that, Bill?
Let's try it. Let's just try it because that's interesting. Because mine had a slide on the front of it, but this one doesn't have. But it's not a YouTube video. It's actually a SlideShare video.
All right, let's try.
I'm curious to see if that.
All right. Oops. Did you see what it said? See,
no,
stuff comes and goes now.
What did it say?
It said, heads up, drop-ins won't show in recordings or audio archives yet, but we're working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, just try it in. But
now, do you see that message that I just read?
No, because I'm not a host, so no, I don't see.
I'll make you a host.
Okay.
Well, it's good to see you not a host though, too, to see the difference. Now you're a host.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to make everybody a host.
Wait a minute. Now that was something she didn't have to refresh. See, I see the H showed up. You know how before you'd have to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
So, all right. So Eileen, try it. Try to hit the lock seat and see if you can get to the. All right, now click it. All right. So you're.
See how it went away so fast.
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
No, okay, and I said okay. No, I did. That link didn't work.
So you can't show the image of the link. If I put a website in here, it won't show the image.
Eileen's wouldn't even open up. So the only thing we found
because it was a video. So let's try.
The only thing we found so far is just a like I tried to do NFL, that didn't work, but just a simple personal.
There's a slide. Here's a real SlideShare presentation.
All right, let me see. I'm gonna go.
I can run it here.
There's number 2. Yeah, it works.
Wonder why it shows that little basketball. See,
well, let's see. That's
He's got a question, too.
Daily's profile. I don't know why.
I don't know why. Okay, that's just a glitch, guys. So,
Yeah.
I just stuck him up.
now, okay, so you.
He was trying to come on earlier, I think. I'm not sure.
We can answer that question. No, of course they didn't publish a list of compatible drop-ins.
Drop yours back in.
Haven't released the feature yet. Let's go back to my slideshow presentation.
Yeah, go for your slideshow.
No,
So how do you use take the shot? Yeah, you just get. Is it a free service on LinkedIn?
Yes.
It's free, but it's on slideshare.net. But you can whatever you put up there, you can include on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
So everybody wants to know about SpeakPipe, which a lot of podcasters are using SpeakPipe to get audio feedback from their listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little presentation so you get feedback for your podcast, crowdsource content ideas. This is way before the days of Blab, so you don't need that now for crowdsourcing. SpeakPipe, grab your phone, instructions for Android. Then I show how to leave a message with the Android phone, and then you upload it to the person. And then there's my SpeakPipe if anybody wants to leave me a message. And that's 3 years old, and I lost a couple pounds since then.
What website? Is that you?
Yes.
Wow. You look a lot younger there. Yeah, I mean, you look really young. You look like you're in 20s.
I don't know. I thought the picture looked the same.
No, I'm about 45 to 50 pounds heavier in that picture.
Hey, where are you originally from?
I've never lived anywhere else besides Philadelphia.
Oh, Philly.
Hey,
My son's in the Coast Guard. He just got his orders changed for his next assignment. He's an engineer. Because the virus, I should know the name of the virus that they're having in South America, Central America. He's single, and everyone else is married in his class. He's a pilot, but he's gone into they called their engineering course. He's an assistant engineer. Mm-hmm. So he was supposed to go to New Jersey, which he wanted to go to Atlantic City. So he'd work in the Washington, D.C. corridor, and it's real high end. And he put secondary, he wanted to put West Coast, San Francisco, and Humboldt opened up. Anyway, he just got his orders. He's going to Puerto Rico for 3 years.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, but it's a long ways away.
Oh,
my wife's family is from the Northeast. And,
okay.
We've been gone a lot. He went to flight school for 2 years, and then his first assignment was in New Orleans. For his first assignment.
You see, Cliff had jumped in. Cliff, do you know what's going on with what Blab just added? We were kind of playing with it, where we're able to open and put in videos and slideshows.
Eileen, put your thing back in. You didn't go through your whole slideshow, did you?
Yeah, I did. It was only 11 slides.
11 slides, yeah. Go through it again. I was like, let me see. There's SpeakPipe. Go. Mm-hmm. It's not moving.
Yes, it is.
It's not moving for me. I guess I have to move it over here.
Oh, you guys aren't seeing it.
So now I'm moving it. Can anybody see me moving it?
No wonder you said I look younger. That's not me. I'm sorry.
Are you at the end? I'm looking for you
I
now.
didn't realize. Yes,
I didn't
realize that you guys were looking at a different side.
Yeah, that first picture,
me.
like whoever that is, like 20 years old or 19 years old.
That's just a stock photo model.
Oh, we're looking at the. All right. I see you now at this picture. There you go.
Now I get it.
There you go. That could be you. A little short, longer hair.
Yeah, I don't know that girl. Go all the way to page 11.
Man, it looks like you're pretty young here.
Oh, gosh. No wonder you guys were. Can everybody go to page 11, please?
Okay.
Fast forward.
Yeah, I saw
it. So you can see where I said that I'm about 45 pounds heavier in that old picture.
Oh, that's the old picture when you're heavier. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now you see what I'm saying. Contact me. Is everybody saying contact me on SpeakPipe? Put a 1 in the chat box if you're on the same page.
Yeah, see, Patricia says you didn't see it. I had to do the same thing. I clicked the arrows and I was able to move it.
Watch this. Watch this. Let's try something real fast. Watch this.
No option for you.
If you were talking, you go like this. Okay, page 1. 1. 1.
From outside the room,
we
can.
Page 3.
Okay. So we're the only ones that can see it.
Nobody else can see it. There's page 2.
No, somebody else said 1.
No, that was Bill.
That was you, Bill. Oh.
Can anybody else see this?
Interesting. No, Dueling Design said he can. Now wait, just refresh. Still frame only. No. I can see it side by, but it won't move. Oh man.
Bruce, go to the arrows
slide,
underneath.
okay, so the slide is.
Have Bruce go to the arrows underneath and see if he can move it manually.
You just see if you can hit the arrows and move it. I'm page 4.
All right, so he's not seeing any arrows.
There's arrows.
I'm on page 11, page 10. Well, you know what? If you're moving the
arrows. Okay, Durham says she's not even seeing the arrows. Okay, well, if anybody actually wants to see the presentation, it's only,
you can drop the link.
Yeah, I put the link in. Oh, I put it in.
So SlideShare, can I share? If I search the name, will it come up?
Any of the hosts can put it in. So we're all hosts right now.
I am moving it, and Cliff, I was moving it, and I thought everybody was on the same page with me, and they weren't. And we realized that when they were saying that I look younger, and
that is so nice. I went on to SlideShare, and it came up.
Yeah. Okay.
Watch this. I'm going to try to drop the link in here. Here's the link, everybody.
I did already. I put the link
down below. Like that link?
Yeah, but that's fine. It's just another.
That's neat.
Yeah. I didn't know you didn't know about SlideShare.
I did not know about SlideShare.
Made me a host from outside if it were.
How do you use SlideShare? What do you use it for?
You get, actually, it's a great way to build authority on a topic, just like a podcast. It's just another way for people to consume your content as a presentation. So especially if you're giving presentations, if you're doing any public speaking, or if you have a blog already and you already have content, make a SlideShare presentation out of it, or a slide presentation, or what do you call Keynote or PowerPoint, and upload it. And then you can, those links on there are active. So when you're on SlideShare, that link at the bottom of the page should take you to my blog, which is Copyright Eileen Smith, Basic Blog Tips. When you're on SlideShare, that link should work. I think it does.
I'm on SlideShare. It says your name.
Oh, no, you know what? It doesn't work. I'm sorry.
I just clicked your name.
I'll show you where, if you go all the, wait a minute.
I clicked your name and I can follow you.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Let me see. I'm over on SlideShare, so I'm not watching. Okay, so now if you go to that very last slide, that number 11.
Okay, on the presentation.
Yeah, and see where it has
a different presentation. Now I'm into how to edit a YouTube video.
Oh, darn.
So how do we get in that?
I can't show you.
But I should be able to go and find your other ones though. Here, wait a second.
Yep. You should be able to click on my profile name.
Let me hit your profile name. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm under follow right now. Where would I go to find other shows? Well, down below.
Okay, right underneath the presentation should be a little teeny picture of me with my name. That's a link.
No, there's nothing there. Your name is, you're on the left-hand side. It says 15 slide shares.
Okay. All right. You're on a different page than me.
There it is. I found it.
All right. You found it? Okay.
So which one am I looking for?
Okay. You're going to scroll down to the one that has the speak pipe girl on the front.
You've got quite a few of these.
Yes.
I like how you made them. Mason, one topic there. Go to page, you want me to go to page 11?
Yeah. So you can see how the link works. And if anybody else is following along, go to page 11 of that slide. And right over top of my head, see where it has the link, http://speakpipe.com/Eileen.
Yeah, it's not hot.
It's not. Oh, click on my picture. My fault.
Click on your picture. Okay, your picture's hot. You're hot. Your picture's hot.
I'm hot. And it goes to SpeakPipe. It doesn't go to my page, though. It goes to the page for you to sign up for SpeakPipe.
I've had SpeakPipe. Is it up higher now? Free trial, 7 days.
Okay. Hey, let me ask Cliff. Cliff mentioned that Cliff, can you put that link? Do you have the link of that show? Because it says here, did you see where he had a gentleman spent 9 hours talking about the drop-ins?
Wow.
He does have the link right here. He gave us the link already.
9 hours talking about drop-ins.
Oh, it's up above? Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Thanks. My fault. All right. So, Patricia, I think we opened up here if you want to pop in.
Oh, but it's only an hour of the recording.
Well, I'm just saying he had spent 9 hours with drop-ins before coming on our shows.
No, I'm just letting people know that if they go to that Blab, it's only an hour. It's not the whole 9 hours.
There she is.
Hey, girl. How are you? All right. Now, what mic is it picking up? Or is it
the Yeti.
Okay. All right.
I'm very pleased with the new feature that allows you to check which camera and which mic you're using. I like that a lot.
All right, so it's not just me. Okay, I didn't know if it was just.
So how do you check with which mic and what's the feature?
When you
first come on,
when you call in, it actually pops up where you can actually check which mic and which camera you're using.
I love that too.
Which is great because I have 2 different cameras and I use them for 2 different types of blabs.
Miss Eileen, do you realize you're not in the club? Everyone that's up right now is in the club.
Which club?
The Timelines Club. Everyone's done an interview here except you. I've got 231 podcasts now, and most of those are interviews.
What's the time and day that you do the interview?
Well, let me show you. If you go to schedule and do schedule, yeah. That's the each week I do it on the first part, and I just dropped in Patricia's.
That's too much clicking.
Schedule.
Tell me the time, man.
But no, let me wait a second. I'm going to give you the link.
The schedule earlier. I looked at it earlier.
So watch this. One day a week, I do it. I do it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Generally, the interviews. By the way, my wife we have small real estate. My wife in California and here, because of my podcast, my wife is going out on over $1 million listing appointment Monday, and we've done at least one transaction because of the podcast this year. So if I would have put that little commercial, I have a little commercial I drop in for her. And I've interviewed like the mayor, the congressman. I might go back and stick that commercial back in there because that really makes a difference.
So 4 p.m. Pacific is what time Eastern?
It's like 7, but there's one I do at 9 in the morning too on Tuesdays. So that's 12 your time.
Well, I'm at work.
Okay, yeah. So in the evening when you'd want to do, which would be 7.
And 7 is usually around my bedtime.
You want a special time?
Never sleep.
I can do it. All I have to do is like it's on a Friday instead of the weekly scan. Put up yours.
What about doing it on a Saturday?
On Saturday, we at 12 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, we do WP Tonic and WordPress, and we interview somebody from WordPress usually. So I put it up the same day.
That's specific. Right, Bill, you're 9.
We could do it on the weekend, and I'll just put it up later, anytime on the weekend. So just give me a time on the weekend. We'll record it. We'll do it on Blab.
Oh, okay.
You can't.
I'll tweet you because tomorrow I'm getting windows put in. You guys don't see, but I'm sitting next to windows that get them put in tomorrow, and I also have somebody I'm supposed to be on Blab at 8:30.
No, anytime. Just give me a weekend time. Except
I don't have
12 o'clock.
That's why I'm hemming and hawing.
On Saturday, 12 to about 2 is shut down East Coast time. We can do it any time prior to that, before and after.
All right, I have to get back to you.
I just put my email in there. Just do an email instead of Twitter. Because I have so many Twitter accounts. Oh, you can use the Blab one, though.
What'd you say, Patricia?
You're playing hard to get.
No, I'm not really. This weekend is because I have to record my podcast.
Oh, you got a podcast up again?
Up again?
You weren't doing it for a while. You were behind.
But I started back in November.
You weren't editing.
I'm still not editing. I mean, I'm editing a little bit, you know. But I mean, I think people go nuts with all that editing.
I listen to my entire show. I do a 30-minute show. It takes me an hour and a half. By the time I do show notes and then edit it. I'll do show notes first.
That's not bad. Oh, that ain't bad at all. If it only took me that long, I would be fine with it.
What do you mean by show notes?
For example, on your site, let's put yours back. Yours is in there somewhere up above, Patricia.
Yeah.
I'm clicking it. I just clicked yours. So the show notes are like your picture and the intro, and then just your.
Okay. See, here's the difference with my show notes are a real blog post.
You see, I'm not doing a big blog post, but show notes framework.
I do. See, that's the difference. That's why mine takes a whole lot longer. I got to edit it, and then I got to do the blog post.
So when you edit your show, what do you do?
I add in intro music, and then sometimes I even may record an intro depending upon how the blab went. I may need to say a little something in the beginning or at the end. Then I say that again, honey.
Like a disclaimer or something.
Well, if something happened, or like, for example, okay, last week I didn't do it on Blab. I did it on YouTube. But then I was on Blab and somebody told me my Stitcher link wasn't working. In fact, it was Guy Cook and Bruce. Bruce was here. So, or he left. So and you know how Guy Cook is. He's like, okay, well, you're going to have to mention it on the podcast. And I was like, okay. So then I had to record a whole intro and mention how they helped me fix my Stitcher link. And so that was and that took 3 minutes for me to say all that.
Okay.
And then I take out, because I do a lot of that. That's always been my problem with podcasting. I do a lot of lip smacking when I talk.
What kind of mic are you using?
The ATR 2100.
Yeah, if you pull it away just a little bit and pull up the gain, that'll pull some of it up.
It doesn't matter. I smack when I talk.
You're not doing it now?
If we were recording this, we are.
I am.
If you were to be playing this as an audio, you would hear it.
I doubt it.
Huh?
I really doubt it. I think you might be hypersensitive.
Well, maybe because my daughter is the one who told me, Mom, you're always smacking.
Well, you know how kids are.
You guys should
my
listen
daughter's not a kid. My daughter's an adult, and she has a podcast, too. Did you see her hair on Blab when she was on Blab with the circadians? Did you see her? I got to let you see that. You would love to see my daughter. Anywho.
There you popped.
I don't take them all. Yes. I don't take them all out, but I take some of them out.
Yeah.
And
all I'm trying to say is that because of the type of person you are and the valuable information you share with us, we're not listening the way you're listening. We don't know. I'm serious.
My TV volume came on. Hang on, guys.
Actually, if you just have time, like on some of the shows, I used to only do the first 5 to 7 minutes, make it really pure in sound, and then edit less critically later on, because people get into the content and they don't focus on the...
It's like getting used to an accent or a speech impediment. You know, you eventually don't hear it after a while.
Right. So the first 5 to 7 minutes, you sort of blend it in.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. So I think the bulk of my time, though, is spent on my blog posts. Have you guys seen my podcast on my blog?
Drop it in there. I didn't even know what you're doing. I know you. Last time I talked, like you had a bunch of them to edit, and you weren't editing them.
So, yeah, it takes. And besides that, I have to research it ahead of time because I'm not interviewing people. I'm talking about a topic, and I haven't even picked out my topic yet.
More and more, I like doing that. Where you just make a show, and it's good practice. It keeps you disciplined. Even if you take up a couple issues and go into Wiki and look at the notes, and then sort of highlight the notes, and then talk about those notes, you can edit it as you go. Go back and edit it. It takes a little bit more time, but I like it a lot. I have 4 feeds. The one feed, the timelines feed, it goes everything. And then we have one for
I want to know, are you checking your stats? I want to know which one is getting more downloads.
Politics.
No, I mean, okay. So the combined feed.
WP Tonic gets the most because it's old and it's ranked. It was ranked number 2, and different times it varies. But Politics on its own, in that the one where everything is in the same place, Politics on that RSS feed gets more. It gets a couple hundred. It's really weird. I'm surprised, and I can tell where they're coming in from. They're not coming in from California. A lot of coming in from Nevada and other places, but not Cal. I interviewed Dr. Nicholas Hernandez as one of the members down in Laguna Beach, and we got Sam, who is in Long Beach, and she works he's an intern for the Democrat Party there, very active. And then Nick is also hooked into Chapman. It just tells me that they're not sending it out to their friends. And I also do a pretty good email list. I email that one out to a lot more people, and then it gets picked up. It's live because it's on Blab on a couple other sites. because it's embedded on the other sites. People hear about it, and then they go to the link to get the podcast. So that one, maybe it's just, it definitely gets more. I was reading about podcasts just yesterday, and I was really surprised to find the ranking which podcasts get the most downloads proportionately.
Who's they?
I forgot who was it. I put it up on let me look. It was I got it. I found it on Dave Jackson's site.
Oh, okay.
Membership site.
All right. That's all you had to do was say Dave Jackson.
It was the first on his site, but it was a design, but basically what it said. No, you want to clarify stuff. Let me try to find. I'll try to find out what we're talking.
The podcast.
That's what I said before I go find it. It basically said that interview shows like John Lee Dumas's don't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
What you do on those shows is you pick up new people all the time. The more people you interview, if you interview the right kinds and types of people, or some stick. I've interviewed the mayor here, and actually locally in Reno. I like doing local interviews too.
I haven't listened to John Lee Dumas's podcast in about 3 years. I'm getting tired of those interviews. I
haven't listened to a full one in a long time. He's still got a lot of downloads though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he does, but
1,200 and some odd podcasts now.
When Dave got hired for Libsyn, Rob Walsh told him, "You're going to be surprised when you find out the folks that are not being honest about their download numbers." Yeah, a lot of people lie about their number of downloads.
Yeah, well, if you get 200 or 300 downloads, that's not too bad. I think 400 is the most I've had in a recent show. 400 at one show over a short period of time.
I think I was up to 5 something on my.
And then if you get 50 to 100, you can build it. It just takes time. And here's the key: is the mail list.
Well, see, you're consistent too. That's another thing. That's why I say I have to do my.
I dropped off. It dropped off a lot. But I'm not sure that doing one every day on the same feed really helps with different content.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you do that.
I'm experimenting.
Oh, okay.
Experimenting. I'm really. I might just drop it in and I play with it, but I think the interview one should be separate. I'm also looking at money and cost on them. Now, if the big thing for me though is when my wife, here's what I'm making money. My wife's got a little laptop and she's got a couple mics. I'll send her out from time to time to do an interview to set it up and be there when I do the interview with somebody. So they're using my mic, my stuff, and they're doing the interview. And my wife is right there, so she gets to meet them. And then they ask what she does. And she does stuff, and she's like going to work in the polls. And she's a real estate broker. So her business is relationship building. So it helps her build that relationship. And plus I put a commercial in the podcast.
That's clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little commercial. I probably put one on yours, the one we did. If you listen, there's a couple commercials in there.
So some
I
of
like
my
the idea. You know what? Now that we can drop in the YouTube video, so we can't yet, but we will. That'll be a really nice time. The halfway point of the show, run a quick commercial.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Inside that'd be interesting.
I hate when they do that on Steven. If he's here, he's not here. But I have to tell you, I hate when they do that. The Tech Buzz show, and I'm like, I'm on Blab, and I got to hear a commercial. It drives me nuts.
That's one thing. I remember when John Lee Dumas first started putting ads, and I hated it because when I got back from overseas.
Another reason I don't listen to his podcast. That's why I don't listen to Tim Ferriss either.
I never listened to Tim Ferriss.
If I want to watch commercials, I will turn on the television.
I'm not a Tim Ferriss fan. I'm just not. I don't know what it is.
Okay,
he's brilliant, but I'm not a Tim Ferriss fan.
Now, he was on a Periscope one night, and I was like, Tim, I gotta watch you more often, boo.
Well, I think maybe the 1950s style ads would work better than what some people are doing.
What do you mean by 1950? Come on, elaborate. 1950s.
Well, you're railing against the commercials, and I think it's because it's like a major interruption.
Mm-hmm.
It's loud. It's got bright colors and moving lines, and it's very distracting. But I think if you did it 1950s style, it would work. Where I shouldn't say 1950s because it worked in the 60s and even the 70s with people. Okay. For example, in the olden days, remember Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show?
Yep.
Yeah.
step over to the side and do his own commercials.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did.
And James Brown did that with his show back in the
I don't
70s.
remember either one. Just give me an example of how it would go. Like, what did they say?
Well, I can only remember James Brown's commercial. Okay, he would stand over to the side, just like Johnny Carson, and he would say, "This show's brought to you by something powder. Yes, yes, yes. It's SSS." It was
wow. I
headache
can't
remedy or
remember
something.
that is totally going from my memory.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I saw it.
but it was present because it wasn't as big a distraction because it was the same host. It was just that he was standing off to the side. It was obviously a commercial, and he kept it short and sweet and kept his same personality.
And then too, what was he advertising? He was advertising more of himself, right?
He was a headache powder of some kind.
Oh, okay.
But the slogan was yes, yes, yes. It's S. And he was saying the way you would expect James Brown to say it.
Okay.
It worked. So I would think that if you had a show and you did a commercial that in that same style, where you are stepping away from your show for a second to bring a message, whatever it is, I think it would work.
It might not be as bad, I will admit. Yeah. But when you got to hear like the music comes in and it's a whole completely different voice, and like you said, sometimes it's loud.
But because TV was totally live in the 50s, that's when it started. They had to do it that way. They couldn't stop the cameras and change the sets or bring in something from the outside. They had to do everything right there.
Because there's 2 SEO podcasts, and both of them they bring, and there's all these, like I said, there's music playing and there's
elephants and
rank high on Google with it, and it's like, oh my God, in the middle of the podcast. Oh.
Okay, I was wrong on this infographic. Here's the link. If you go down it, open it up, and slide down to the bottom, there's a big infographic.
Okay. Oh, Copy Blogger saying the growth.
Look at the infographic in the bottom.
This is
the most popular podcast categories. So that doesn't mean that they're the most listened to.
The categories. Okay.
Christian is number one. Christian is number one. Christian is because of the number of churches that record and play. Music, comedy, TV and film, literature, news and politics is down lower. And then video is below that. Sports is below that. Management and marketing. I've heard that sports is low because people want sports in real time. And then personal journals. That's weird. Personal journals.
This is why I don't really like infographics for the most part. And, that's nice that and I like John Nastor. I met him here on Blab. In fact, they invited me on the Blab. He and Gerald Morris, because I met Gerald Morris at Ascend here in Philadelphia. Anyway, forget all that. First of all, these stats are from 2014. And if you don't think that all these things are different now, okay, that was 2 years ago. Podcasting has changed a lot in 2 years, I think. And the stats are not coming from iTunes. They're coming from some type of a survey from Foundation Digital. So, I mean, it may have some validity, but that's why I said, who says that? Because that's the first thing I want to know. If these stats are not coming from iTunes, and iTunes, I know they haven't shared stats. They're not sharing that kind of stuff. So it's nice to give you a general idea. Don't get me wrong. So I don't want to totally discount it.
So is Dave working full time now for Libsyn? I heard he moved over.
He's on support. He's support for Libsyn.
So what's he going to do with his school and his training and all that? Just do it less?
No, he worked a full-time job and he lost his job.
Oh, I know that. I know he lost it. And he.
Well, why would you think he would do less for school? He'd do more because he doesn't have a full-time job now. I mean, he's doing support for Libsyn, but he doesn't have the same hours that he would have had at the other place, I would think. I could be wrong. I don't know. He's talked about it. He got divorced, and I think probably a couple of weeks later he lost his job or something. That's pretty rough. Yeah. I haven't listened to a lot. I used to listen to a lot of his shows, all his podcasts. I need to start listening again. Listen a little bit, but sometimes he can get me down. I listen to his podcast. probably sleep when he comes on here because tomorrow should be.
I listen to him on Saturday morning. I try to.
Oh, okay.
Then we do a show. Jim Colson. Jim Colson's one, right?
Jim Collins.
Jim has been on a lot of my shows.
Okay.
He's gone on. We did a test show. We did 12 shows with just podcasters and tech people. And we said, could we make this into a show? And I put them up on YouTube. We did them on Skype, and they came out really nice. And I put about 5 or 6 up onto the podcast. But we came to the conclusion after talking to all these folks that this would not be a successful podcast if you really want to grow a podcast. So I talked to all top one from Rob Lipson, and it was really good.
I'm sorry, say that again. What would not be a successul podcast?
We did 12 shows. In fact, Podcaster's Home, I still got it. It's on a separate YouTube feed.
Mm-hmm. I heard that part.
Okay, there's 12 shows, and they're they're medium to high-end podcasters, either trainers or instructors. And one of the questions was, would this be a viable podcast? So podcasting about podcasting with podcasters is not viable in the big run.
What are you comparing it to, though? Comparing it to John Lee
you can never get over 5,000 downloads. That would be the.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. 5,000 downloads.
No, I mean, it is. It would be good. But I'm just saying the most, I forgot, it would probably be less than that, probably 500 or whatever. Hey, anybody know how they set categories into iTunes with WordPress or search? Because I thought I knew, but I can't get any search right now in iTunes for like real estate. I can't figure out what is going on.
Daniel J. Lewis has an SEO course for podcasts.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can tell you.
Now, how did he figure it out? That's a question I have. What's the magic juice? No one knows what's inside. I've seen people get SEO on iTunes. It doesn't make any sense in different categories.
Well, that's what I said.
Have bad sound.
That's the only way I can. Oh, you mean you see them getting featured in iTunes?
Like if you go to WordPress, you type in WordPress for the search.
Type in WordPress. Okay.
And iTunes for the search.
Okay, that's based on the number of people that subscribe.
Wait a second. Why is it not? So you go to iTunes Store. Mm-hmm. You type in WordPress. WordPress.
And a lot of those shows aren't even around anymore.
So if you type into WordPress, come on. Mm-hmm. It varies because ours moves around all the time. We've been as high as 2.
Mm-hmm.
There it goes. Really slow. I don't know why it's so slow. So you go to WordPress. Okay, right now we're 3 on mine. WP Tonic is 3 when you type in WordPress.
Okay.
And that's an interesting show. That's not interesting. It's all techie programmers. A lot, it's not interesting. It is, but it is. It's like, so it's for primarily, we're changing a little bit. This month, we talk about a different topic each month, but we talk about the people a little bit more like an interview. But it's 3 right now. I don't know what yours shows up. But if you,
yes. But what's your problem?
If you go to all, it's not here. But I've seen ones that are really goofy. I won't say her name, but there's one that's about 4 down right now that I've seen as high as in the top 10. And it's like terrible sound. It's not about WordPress per se. So how does it end up there?
Because people subscribe. It goes by the number of subscribers that you get. And it goes by, I think, the last, I want to say 30 days. This is a formula that Rob Walsh has shared many times on the feed. You ever listen to the feed?
Oh, I need to listen to feed more. I used to listen to it all the time.
Okay. Well, you're doing a lot of podcasting. You don't have time to listen to podcasts about podcasts because you're podcasting.
I'm doing a lot of other work too. Real estate. You know what I edit? I edit at night.
Okay.
I sit and edit at night after dinner. And I get it up. If we do an interview at 4:00 in Pacific or in the morning, after dinner at 7:00, I edit it and put it up that same day.
So when are you going to have a Blab, Patricia? You said you can't wait to get your hands on that drop-in feature. What are you going to drop in?
Well, when I am migrating over to Blab for my interview shows, I've been interviewing since the 90s, but in terms video style, I've been on Google Plus for the past 3 years.
Oh.
So I'm starting to gravitate to Blab. I'm still going to use Google Plus for musical acts. But for the most part, when I'm thinking is when I interview authors with, what do you call those? Book trailers on YouTube. And musicians who want to show their latest video, I'll be able to do that.
Okay, so you'll be doing mostly YouTube videos. Okay.
Yeah. I can't imagine what else I would, yeah. When it comes to an interview, I can't imagine what other, unless it was Vimeo or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine anything else that I want to use.
Eileen, Durham, and Mike. Mike was with me. We have a show called The Weekly Scam. How would you guys like to do it with us right now?
Honestly, I was just getting ready to say I'm getting ready.
It's not
to
a
get
bad show. It's not a bad
I
show
don't
at
have any
all.
scams in
It'll
my
take 10 minutes.
I'm getting ready to go to
So
bed.
what we're going to ask, it's going to be on a podcast tonight. What we ask is like, it's really not supposed to be negative, but it's supposed to be, what do you watch out for? What's the number one thing that you personally have to watch out for? Maybe,
Okay.
or what scam?
Got one piece of advice.
Go ahead, Mike. Okay, let's put a silent gap in here. Quiet. Okay, I will rework the intro, but let me try this real fast. We have Eileen Smith coming to us from Philadelphia, Durham Skywriter from North Carolina. Durham? Wait, no, it's not Durham. It's, where are you?
Pat from Durham, North Carolina.
Durham, that's right. See, I confused. I'm doing this, and you were on an episode not long ago. We'll put those links up. We have Mike Sheehan he's coming in from Stowe, Ohio. And I'm Bill Conrad coming in from Reno. So we're going to talk shortly about the weekly scam. And we've been talking about Blab and all the neat things about Blab and the good things about Blab. I want to ask all of you a question. Are there scammers out on Blab that you have to watch out for? We'll go around the circle. Mike, do you want to start?
I would say yes. I think any opportunity there is for people to engage with new folks, with new people, are going to try to share their stuff. Unfortunately, there's some people that are always looking to take advantage of people. So to answer your question, I would say yes.
Miss Eileen, what's your?
Oh, I agree with what Mike said. And anytime you have opportunity where people see that there may be people that are vulnerable or maybe a little gullible, that they will try to take advantage of them, especially people that are disabled in some way, maybe, or disenfranchised. So you definitely do have to be on the lookout.
In Durham, how do you feel?
I don't know about actual scams, but there are a lot of sales and coach type people on who I think I would steer clear of, because there's just too many of them, and I don't get to check their backgrounds and check their records, see if they've actually done anything to warrant those titles. So I don't know if they're actual scammers. I just think
I've seen some really expensive guys show up on here, sell expensive products. And one thing that Mike and I have talked about this is we think in some aspects, this environment of Blab can actually reduce the scamming.
Well, can I also add about experience that I've seen? There's actually been two people that I know of that were scamming people. Mm. And what they were doing, and you make a great point, Bill, when you're on camera and when you're in front of everyone, it's much harder to scam. You may be selling $1,000 product, but that's not a scam, because everybody knows that you're selling $1,000 product that may only be worth $10. But what these two scammers that I heard of had done is they've connected with people off the platform privately in most cases, and that's where they conducted their scam. Oh, I need money because, and I'm not going to be specific, well, say the cow jumped over the moon, and oh my God, if I don't get this money, and then when the scam is up, when the gig was up in both cases, as a community, Blab came together and people started comparing.
Yeah, I agree.
And they said, oh, he told you that? They told me the same story, that their cable was getting cut off or that they were sick. And, so what happens, guys, is when you seeing someone on Blab and you say to yourself, oh my God, they're asking all this money for this product. That's not a scam, because that person is telling you, this is what I'm offering and this is how much it's going to cost. And so you kind of know. But it's that person that tries to get you off the platform. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to have a heads up about. And they try, and then they try to make you feel like they are in such dire straits, But remember, before, Blab hasn't even been around for a year yet. So who would they have gone to before Blab? So just keep that in mind.
I figure if I'm not going to help a person in real life, I'm certainly not going to help them on Blab.
What I was going to say is I've interviewed 230 some odd interviews. Actually over 200 interviews, because not all of my podcasts are interviews, but there's well over 200. And I only know of one person who was a scammer on that, and he was on Blab. And I think I know who you're talking about, one of those. I don't know who the other one is, but I definitely identified. I left the podcast up. I probably should put a disclosure on there or maybe take it down. But I think that's a good analogy. I think people can be cautious and aware of each other. Next question I have, this is an interesting one. And Eileen, I'm sort of interested to hear what you have to say. We all know Dave Jackson. I think he's very, very fair. And I actually learned the podcast through Dave Jackson. I almost went to somebody else because it was in December 2012. I got back from Afghanistan. I spent 2 months of watching YouTube when I got back. It was my fourth tour and my last tour. And I started podcasting. I started learning to podcast, really excited. And I hunted around and I ended up with Dave Jackson. And he was very reasonable. I learned to podcast for about $100 through his school. But there are people who charge $1,000+ to learn to podcast. What do you think of that?
I think that's fantastic. If they can provide that kind of value and that person that can afford to pay that, because let's face it, you're not going to pay $1,000 just to learn how to podcast unless you got deep pockets.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to go spend your rent money. You're not going to spend the food money oh God, I got to feed my kids, but I want to learn how to podcast. You're not going to do that.
I think some people might. I think some people might if they think they can make money doing it.
I've seen people here on Blab who are trying to tell folks that they'll teach them how to interview people and how to charge these people they're going to interview several $100s so they can make six figures. But we should realize that real journalists and real interviewers don't ask for money. No money exchanges hands. You can't imagine people on BBC and NPR paying or getting paid for interviews. So these everyday folks from wherever, they certainly shouldn't charge to be interviewed. Especially, yeah. And they're not. I've seen people who said they're gonna, and I'm sorry for speaking so freely.
No, it's good.
But I've been interviewing for years, decades, and I kind of feel bad when I see these people who I feel are not good interviewers luring these people in with promises to teach them how to interview, and they themselves are really bad. Not very good.
Yeah, and so that kind of goes along with just being online and really in life in general. You got to be able to know a snake in the grass when you see it, and
but you don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And you're right. Sometimes people just don't know. And that's what I was saying earlier, that people will always prey on those that are disenfranchised, or they're gullible. And so unfortunately we can't
inspire people.
The most we can do is, like Mike and Bill have the show, and at least that should, if people watch that can give them some kind of a heads up. That's all we can do. And if we see that kind of stuff, try to intervene, guys. If anybody that's listening to this knows of somebody and they're just scared, they're like, well, maybe they won't listen to me and they won't believe me. Come to me, come to Bill, come to Mike, come to Patricia, and we'll get together and we'll get them.
I've really been tempted. I am so tempted when I watch these shows, these broadcasts. Something in me just really wants me to just type out in capital letters, this isn't right, you're getting ripped off. But I don't know. I just feel we're all adults and we just should know better. and should really study things before we spend our money. I don't think it should be up to me to point out that that this is wrong to pay to be interviewed. I don't know. I just feel too awkward about it.
I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, we're coming back from a break, and we're going to hit two different areas. This online business is really growing and flourishing, and the digital profit is huge. If you create a digital product, you can make a lot of money. How do you feel about charging different amounts of money for different zip codes based on the product? And there's some companies doing that. And there's some big companies doing it. One is an education that is teaching how to do SATs, is varying the price substantially, thousands of dollars between zip codes. That's the first question. And then we're going to look at men's and women's products and packaging. So the first one, Mike, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about the zip codes, changing the price for zip codes?
Well, I don't think that's anything unique. When I first got in the insurance business, I was in the P&C side, on the auto and homeowner side. And I know, and I think I know it still applies today.
But that's legit because you have more accidents in some states. Like in LA, there are typically more accidents per number of automobiles.
Right, but I'm speaking on the homeowner side, that they were targeting certain neighborhoods, and the homeowner's policy was more expensive, and it all revolved around risk. I think risk was part of it,
based on risk, they said.
and opportunity for claims. But so that's been going on a long time. So to answer your question there, it doesn't surprise me. I don't know if they're going after the fact that the Asian population is more competitive and they want to do very well, and they're going to pay whatever they have to pay to get that additional training and study time to do well on the SAT. So I believe it.
Yeah. So Miss Eileen.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of laws they have against that kind of thing. And I would imagine that from state to state, even the laws may vary, but it should definitely be something that should be on the books that can't be done.
The story I saw on CNN said there's no laws. They can change the price on different. It's the same product, digitally loaded, different zip codes, different prices. I bet that'll change. I know we're in the real estate industry and we have to work under HUD, and they did in the 70s. They did everything they could so we wouldn't have redlining. So certain neighborhoods would all be treated the same when you sell and buy houses. That anti-discrimination, race, religion, color, national origin, and I forgot the others. But you can't redline areas. And banks are the ones really that you have to watch out for that in that area. Not so much a realtor. Typically if a realtor redlines are really bad. You don't want to do any work with anybody who's redlining. But that said, Durham, what do you think about the different zip code concept?
I believe in fair pricing for all. But what's really funny, I come from a hyper regulated place when it comes to race in terms of segregation, and that's Chicago. And what's really, really funny to me, it never really occurred to me until I was an adult. Now, there are neighborhoods where, like mine. I grew up in Chatham. It was an Irish Catholic neighborhood for a while, and then the light-skinned blacks, the Haitians and Creoles tiptoed in, and they were accepted. And then us darker ones started moving in, and that's when they started leaving, whites, that is. Mm-hmm. And the neighborhood went quickly from white to black. The neighborhood is still a wonderful neighborhood. It's a beautiful place to live, still is. But what's really funny, I discovered as an adult that when whites, act out of fear like that, and they insist on living in their own communities, it's really interesting how much more they have to pay than everybody else. It's like they have to really pay through the nose for that convenience of living without fear. And to them, it's probably worth it because they don't know any better. But it's amazing how, let's take an apartment. Let's take an apartment in Woodlawn, okay? 2-bedroom. At the time I was living in Chicago, I'm sure things have changed. A 2-bedroom in Woodlawn might have been maybe $485, and that same apartment on Fullerton near Clark would be $1,200 to $1,500. Same apartment, same types of neighbors in terms of nice people, but different different concept. And the real estate people are really taking advantage of that. And it's not fair to the white folks, but it's kind of like, well, it's just what happens, I guess, when you act out of fear. Although, because if you watch TV and only judge people by what you see on TV, you can say, I don't blame them. But again, somebody's getting rich off of that concept.
I'm just saying it is against the law, though, to mention race, religion, color, creed, or national origin.
Well,
What
seriously,
we do in our real estate,
Chicago.
we have 4 substations in the bigger city. We had a company in California, and we would just tell our clients, I think most agents even wouldn't do this. If they're interested in crime, is just go in the substation, talk to the police officers, talk to the folks, you can talk to the detectives, and they'll tell you about different areas. Let them do it. Don't let, as a real estate agent, you don't do that. And let me, on that targeting, first of all, it is legal because we don't stop folks. That's good. World Series. Yeah, he's a big Chicago's fan.
White Sox.
But on the targeting, it's legal now to change it by zip code. But in reality, in fairness and honesty, I wouldn't want to run a business like that. If it cost me the same amount to deliver a product in Maine, I want to charge the same amount in Texas. Yeah, I mean, a digital product doesn't cost anything more to deliver it in one zip code or the other. I think it's bad practice. I'm going to look more into this company because it is a well-known, established company, and I saw them try to explain it. And they're trying to make as much money as possible. And I believe in free markets, but this is kind of a crazy situation on these digital products. There is very little regulation right now in digital products. Last year at the National Broadcasters, I listened to the FEC directors. There's about 4 or 5 different organizations that regulate somewhat, but there isn't a lot of regulation. So that's our final one for tonight on the weekly scam. And we like to talk about positive, good stuff too. Yes. But on marketing and different products, and Miss Eileen just said it. She's talking about how you market different products for male and female.
Well, actually, what I did was I grabbed the link to the episode of On the Money. I watch it every Sunday, even though I TiVo it because I don't like commercials. So anyway, on Sunday morning. So this phenomenon is known as the pink tax. According to a recent study by New York City's Department of Consumer Affairs, products marketed to women across multiple categories cost an average of 7% more. And then they give you a little promo. It's easy to watch the show. Why is this happening and how widespread are these gender price differences? So what I can remember, a couple of the examples that they used were the lotion. I mentioned that earlier. That was the same ingredients, and the retailers will blame the manufacturers and the manufacturers blame the retailers. Another one, though, which was clearly coming from the manufacturers, was Depends. And when you looked at it, it was like the same size packaging or something like that, right? Or similar pricing, but the men's packet had like 12 more Depends in it than the woman's. The same exact product, the same thing, but it was just, the same price, but you got 12 more of them, which was like 20-some% more. So, but they were doing
every. Talked about Depends there.
I don't know why they picked that particular product. I guess because men don't use some of the other feminine products. So,
yeah, but that's an interesting combination. One thing though, if you're in a store and there's something on the shelf and one thing's selling and one thing's not, then they need to lower the prices on the product that's not selling and sell it. Find out what it's selling at. That's a complicated area, but I think if you have a business, fairness is really important for integrity in the business in the long run.
But when you think about it, when you're going to store looking for those type of items, they're nowhere near each other on the shelves. You're going to go to your men's products. You're in a totally different aisle. You don't even, so the women that are going shopping for their own stuff, not unless you're shopping for a family, like me, myself, I never shop for men's products. So I would never, this was like totally went over my head. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah, I do.
And, I never have a chance to use my husband's lotion because I don't have a husband.
Yeah.
What's really weird when you see the same item packaged in different ways. with different price points. Like, for example, excuse me, I like to garden. So there is a type of paper that you use in gardening when you're trying to protect your crops from the last of the winter winds and whatnot. It's this light white cloth that you put over plants. Now, when you buy that in the gardening section, it's like $10 for 10 feet or whatever. Okay. If you buy the exact same paper in the area, I don't know what you call it. People use it for sewage systems. It's the same paper, but it's totally packaged a different way and called a different name, but it's really the same product. And you can get a whole roll of 10 feet for $1, but it's the exact same thing.
We buy a lot of store brands. My family does, and some of them are really good if you know what you're buying, if you search them out. Yeah. Hey, before we leave, I want to thank everyone for coming on the Weekly Scam this week and producing the show. It'll be up tonight late, maybe tomorrow morning, because I got another show I got to edit. I'm behind like a half a day. But everyone stay on, because I want to talk a couple seconds about Roku, because I think you both, Eileen and Durham, I think you like this Roku concept if you haven't looked at it.
Okay.
I wish there was a way I can mark this to edit it so it'll be faster. So I have to put that quiet in there. So anyway, I'm going to drop this in. I don't know if you guys saw this, but episode 229, I thought about both, especially you, Durham. And this fit right into your show. I think she saw your show, your episode, and she came on the show. But it's Audrey Bell Kearney from Atlanta. This is a great show. She was from New Jersey, and she used to go to Manhattan. And she's a really interesting person. But she got into Roku when it was under 1,000. She says she's got 72,000 subscribers in a Roku channel. And if you look at the link on there at the bottom, there's a link. It's It's mention links. It's instant TV, and some people want $5,000 and $7,000 to set up a Roku channel. You can get like one set up on that link for $50. And she started early, and now there's 7,000 people on Roku.
Good
so you can
for
put
her.
your podcast, whatever it is. I thought of both of you guys. That's an interesting thing to look at. We need to look at that closer. I don't know if I got the bandwidth to do Roku, but it should be fun.
Steven does it, the Tech Buzz show. He does Roku.
It's not that
well.
expensive, apparently.
He says he has a lot of audience on there. So, there's an opening. I actually, my daughter used to have a fashion brand, and there's a girl who's on YouTube that I was friendly with, and she was setting up a Roku channel. She wanted to make like an online store and get all of her Etsy sellers together. And so I don't know how well that did with the online store, but I don't think that it's like an instant, success. Like no matter what, get on Roku and it's going to work for you.
It's like anything else. You got to work at it, I'm sure. But Roku is a great tool.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about bandwidth though, Bill, because most people that I see who have Roku channels actually are using already existing shows.
When I talk bandwidth, you're saying repurposing then?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're talking about Roku. I thought you were going to start talking about real bandwidth.
No, just take your show and repurpose it up on Roku.
Yeah, I got to look at the cost. You know what I find though, even in editing, we post on a couple different websites, like 3 websites, the same thing. Mm-hmm. It does take time to repost, and sometimes I put less show notes, maybe post them into one. But every time you move something around or set something, you're talking another 10, 15, 20 minutes. And maybe
I just realized I have to plug in my computer. I'll be right back.
We're going to finish up
with that. Bill, I'm going to have to scoot too, because I just noticed I have to go pick up my wife here in 20 minutes.
We're going to finish up, but thank you. I'll send you guys emails. I got everybody's email. I think I got yours, Miss Eileen, right?
Okay. It's Eileen@basicblogtips.com.
Could you drop it in? Just let me double check over here.
Sure, I will.
Let me pull up my my email here, and I'll send that out. I don't know if I'll get. This will probably be up tomorrow. I'm like 12 hours behind on my editing. I'm literally 12 hours behind on shows. Editing, like I try to edit them like the night before. I'm doing like 12 hours later. Well, I got behind. I just can't get caught up.
Well, good night. You got the last little bit of Friday night out of me.
I know it's like 5:38 here, so thank you. Go to bed. It's past.
Thanks for jumping in.
Are you going to be on the show in the morning on at 7? Dave's show and Gems?
Oh yeah, I'll probably see you there.
That's a great show. I listen.
Oh.
I usually listen to it on my iPhone now. So, and Durham, it's good to see you. You look good. I like your black
you.
backgrounds. You're looking good in your picture tonight.
All right. We'll
Thank
see you,
you.
Patricia.
Let me.
See ya.
Hey,
Does it
Bill,
make-
our 20-minute
one last
show.
question. Does it make a difference when we hang up on each other if we're host? Patricia, let me make a host for a couple seconds.
Okay.
You can get the feed. That way you get the feed. It's kind of fun.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So you just gave you the host. But I'm going to hang you up. Does it make a difference who hang up? I had one. I should ask Sean this. I had one get caught up or hung up on a couple weeks ago. It never downloaded.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that was last week. When
Yeah,
we
I
did
had
our
to
show.
make, so you saw what I did. I made a new show. I just took our notes and made a show
Right.
out of it.
I had to do my show twice today because my first show never appeared at my in my inbox.
I've only had
So I
that
had
happen
to-
twice in Blab.
Yeah, but it was just a 5-minute announcement show. It wasn't a big deal. I just did it again.
How's it going? Any updates?
I was doing great, having fun with it. I just got a video camera, so my YouTube channel is going to be
Oh, you got-
sporting a whole bunch of fun new videos.
You got that expensive one, right?
Yeah,
Oh, nice. And that was through the nonprofit?
right. So
Oh,
I'm really.
nice.
Oh yeah, I've already
Yeah.
done a couple of videos, and I'll be doing more tomorrow.
Well, I stream with my 9:30 up here live. So anyway, I'm gonna shoot you off. Michael, shoot
Okay.
you off too. Thanks.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, let's just kind of end where we started, and Patricia, we'll see you later.
Okay.
Any of you that are still listening here, if any of you have seen our little box, you can now,
Wait a
let me bring it back
I
here,
did.
there. You can now put a link in there, and if you want to know how to do it, if you haven't been on a Blab or no, you just go to Blab Help, or you can go to at Blab Stud or at Sean SHAANVP. Those are all folks at Blab. Tell them you want to unlock your drop-in, and
I'm gonna
they'll
drop
catch
something
it.
in there.
That's what they did for us. And if you see on our screen right at the bottom, it says drop in any link.
So I'm gonna
We
drop in
found
the link right
YouTube
now.
videos. Yeah, YouTube videos work fine. We did a screen,
That's
a
good.
slide share.
Can they see it out there? Is it playing?
Oh yeah, there you go.
There's yesterday's show. That is
Yeah.
that's the real estate show. It was a really good tech show. It was a tech on real estate too. Welcome to Timelines episode. It's kind of noisy though.
Well, just one. Yeah, see, it's the sound is nice on my end, but one of the things too, people, when you do it, you can't mute the video. But they said that's coming, and right now you have to request it to drop in, and then if you go to another Blab, it doesn't automatically follow you. So I just wanted to kind of leave where we started for some of the people that jumped in late, don't know some of the latest things on Blab.
Yep.
And Bill, our 20-minute show turned into an hour and 40
How long?
minutes.
Well, no, but I cut. I've got that quiet portion in there. Hopefully, it's not more than 20, 25 minutes. I thought that was a really good weekly scam. I thought the good topics.
Oh no.
We should do
No,
that
I'm
next
just saying
week.
our actual time on, turned into an hour 40. But yeah,
Talk
it's not
about-
going to be an hour 40 show. So
Talk about Blab, and then bring people on, and then ask them real fast what scams they see out there.
So I got to scoot.
I do too.
And I'll
See you.
See you guys soon.
Let me.
Bye-bye.
I'll throw you off. There you go. Hey, thanks everybody. Hey, tomorrow at 9:00 Pacific, we'll have WP Tonic. Let me put the link in. WP Tonic. I'm going to put the link in for tomorrow's podcast. It's really good. It's who do we have on tomorrow? I'm trying to think. WP Tonic is WordPress. It's all about WordPress. It's Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. And I'm trying to think. I don't know who we have on. But anyway, we usually have the very top WordPress people from the country world on. And we'll see how it goes. That's the link for WP Tonic tomorrow. That's at 9:00. And again, it's all about WordPress. And this month on WordPress, we're actually talking about how you make money online with WordPress, which is tough to do. You have to really know your stuff, I think. And there's different levels of how you can make. We're talking about what a $10,000 website is and what a $500 website or is a $100 website. There's differences. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Good to see you. I will friend everybody. Durham, it was good seeing you again. It's like friends. Now. We've been on the timelines and interviewed. It's nice to follow you, to come up on Friday nights to find out how it's going. It would have been nice to talk about your camera and see how that's working. So take care. And I'm going to share this before I go. Good show tonight. Good show. And I just shared that out the last few seconds. So thanks, everybody.